Greetings, Judah. DFG, Gideon's Flight. Hey guys, I just want to take a few minutes and just discuss a subject matter that I think is truly important to each and every one of us. And I want to say it this way. I want to say to each and every one of you, Judah, Israel, that something that you should always remember, day and night, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. You should remember that our enemy, Satan, the God of this world, and I'm using G-O-D, the dog word, because this world serves the dog God. As the scripture said, the dog goes back to its vomit. The dog returns back to its vomit. In other words, the filthy heathens among us, the Gentile heathens among us, they never change, and they just regurgitate the same wickedness and evil over and over and over. And as Judah, we need to remember that Satan, the God of this world, and all of his cohorts, they have a contract out on each and every one of us. In the Revelation, the book of Revelation, you say that Satan, our accuser, goes before Yah day and night, accusing us before Yah. But Yah does not hear the wicked. He does not hear the salutations of the wicked. When they go before Yah, there is an intercessor between them and him. And therefore, that intercessor blocks their lies and blocks their hatred and blocks their cunningness. So that Yah only judges Israel from the heart. And yes, again, he judges us from the heart. We are the apple of his eye. And when I mean judges us from the heart, he looks at the heart of Israel. And he looks and see what's happening in our hearts, in our minds. Yeshua reminded us that. Remember, he said, man judges the outer appearance, right? That a man will judge you by the things that he sees. But he said, but Yah, the most righteous, the righteous one, our righteous Elohim, he judges the heart. He judges the heart. But I bring this forward to remind each and every one of you guys in these end days that as these times draw closer and closer and closer to the end, Satan is going to get more and more aggressive. Some of you brothers out there, I'm telling you right now, you had better have your whole armor on you. What I mean by you better get in the word. Hallelujah. You had better get in his word and let the Rahu protect you. Because Satan is going to come at you with every type of demonic lust spirit that he can conjure up. And I mean lust spirit. He's going to use women like he has never used women before. Women who are willing, who have already sold out to him, who have already bowed down to him to do whatever he asks of them so that they can have beauty, so that they can have esteem, so that they can have popularity, so that they can have control, so that they can assert their power, and so that they can become gods within themselves. And again, he's going to use them as a target against us. But that is not the sole message that I'm talking about here, my brothers and sisters. Because I'm going to take you to our book. And I'm going to show you the many manifestations how one who you would think is on your side. And I'm not talking about women. Now I'm talking about wicked men. Men that you would consider, honorable. Men that you would say are in positions of influence. Men who you would suspect are men of esteem. Men who are smiling in your faces, patting you on your back, encouraging you. And at the same time, they are as wicked as the sun is hot. I'm going to give you a name real quick. And I don't want you to go look this up because it's not worth it. I'm talking about this guy has a channel. He has a big channel. And I listen to him from time to time. And more times than not, I'm vexed with this guy because whenever someone brings up Yah or anything as relates to the people of Yah from who we are, being the apple of Yah's eye, being Judah, being Israel, and trusting Yah, the first thing he does, he shuts them down and go on the attack. And what he tells them is to go against the number one and number two commandments of Yah. The first one, to disregard Yah. You don't worry about Yah. All you need is, how did this brother say that? Black power. That's all you need is, you know what I'm saying, is a revolutionary spirit. All you need to do is disrespect your elders and disrespect anyone with wisdom except for him, because he knows what's best for you. And he literally tells these young people who follow his channel that they should pretty much spit in the faces of their parents. Not literally, but call them a bunch of coons and a bunch of just nobodies and a bunch of sellouts. This is what this man tells our people. But he comes as an honorable man. And I'm gonna give an example of this man in the book. But he presents honorably. But as minute, like Satan is, the minute Satan gets contested, the minute this man gets contested, he goes into an effeminate rage. Muting people on his channel, hollering at people on his channel, cutting them off, calling them coons, calling them everything you can think of. Satan personified. And for some of you guys, just so you know, I won't tell you. I don't have to give up his name, but I'm just telling you. This is as much as I'll give you. Guy got 117,000 subscribers, and always bragging and telling you, that he is the number one promoter of the people because he has 117,000 subscribers. I'll leave it at that. Some of you already know what I'm talking about, but that's all I'm going to say. Because this ain't about him. It's about how Satan uses men like him to lead our people away from Yah. Again, because he has a contract out on us. And he'd much rather see our young men and young women dead in the streets. You know what I'm saying? Just being made fools of and puppets to enrich these wicked ones. And he is one of them. It kind of vexes my spirit, I'll be honest with you, my brothers and sisters. And I get it. I mean, I understand that resources are important, when you're doing a work. And if you're presenting something or you have a product, I understand that looking for resources or compensation for your product is a fair trade, a fair exchange. I get that. But what I don't get is how that when people, well, I do get it, but what vexes me is how they'll come at you like, well, no, this is about love, and this is about you, and this is about making you a better you, and this is about you seeing things as they are to see, and about being independent, and about and being able to walk with your head up and be somebody. But of course, you got to give me a little something to get there. And so, what am I saying in that regard? To me, it's an integrity issue on their part. It's wickedness on their part. Because why don't you just say up front, look, I'm going to give you some stuff, but I want you to give me some money for this stuff I'm giving you. And, that's how it's going to be. But see, Satan is a wolf in sheep's clothing. He's never going to be that transparent with you, brothers and sisters. It's always going to come at you sideways. No cunning. Again, like a fox trying to eat a hen. That hen will never know that fox has zeroed in on it until it's too late. And that's how these wolves are coming after our people. And that's why we need to understand clearly that, yes, Satan has a contract, a murder contract out on you. And he'll use anything in his reach to destroy you. I was talking to a loved one today, a male loved one, yesterday. And he was sharing with me how that the enemy has used somewhat a Jezebel spirit. I'm telling you, he used a Jezebel spirit in someone to take and put him in a situation that has been so hard on the brother, or he's on the man. I'm not going to go as far to call him a brother in Yah, because to be a brother in Yah, you have to walk away from all the occultic things out there. In other words, you're not a Freemason, or you're not an Eastern Star and a daughter or a son of Yah. That's a lying spirit that's deceiving you to make you believe that. But I will say, even on behalf of that particular man, a loved one of mine, the enemy put a suicide spirit on him. Told him to be hopeless. Told him, don't worry about it. You'll be better off, if you're dead. Which is a lying spirit. And he used the Jezebel spirit to do that to him. And again, I'm not saying that the person in his life that's causing the chaos is Jezebel. What I'm saying is that he used that same spirit that was in Jezebel to manipulate and to tear down and to destroy, instead of using her to encourage, build up, and create, as what Yah is called a true helpmate to be to the men of Yahuwah. But again, my hope, my prayer, my sharing with him, it's not going to stop unless Yah tell me to stop. And Yah will break him out of the occult that he may see the light. Because I truly believe that his deep in his heart, he wants to do the right thing. But he'll never see Yah with the occultism flowing about. None of us. Because maybe he does not see that he's not wrestling against flesh and blood. That this person who is being obsessed with this Jezebel spirit, that person is not the enemy. There's a spiritual wickedness that's using her to destroy him. As many women are being used that way to destroy the men of Yah. Many. And really sad, a lot of these women are in deception. They don't even believe that they're being used that way. They have no idea they're being used by the enemy. Destroy down their own houses. Because without the Israelite man or the Hebrew man or the Judite man, then you have no family. So that means you have no womanhood. There is no womanhood without manhood, sisters. So you need to get that right. You can make it up. You can create something. You can put it out your ass and say it exists. But there is no womanhood without manhood. It takes both for each to exist. But again, you can explore that and you can look up that on your else. Get the etymology of these words and break them down and do your own research. How can you come out of a man and not need the man? I'm going to say that to you again. How can you come out of the man and not need the man? How can you literally come out of a man and not need that man? And whether it was Eve taken from the rib of Adam, or whether it's the semen of your father for women that impregnated your mother, which created you. Just as a reminder that the enemy desires to sift you all like wheat. A sifter. Remember, if you know anything about flour, when I was a little boy, to make sure they got all of they wanted to get fine flour when our parents were cooking, well, me and my mom was cooking, she'd have a flour sifter. And the sifter, can you see how I'm doing my hand? The sifter would be in something like a rice strainer, and it had this little contraption inside of it. And she would, I think, use the handle, and it would cause it to do this. And what it does, it would grind down the flour and make it real fine. So when she wanted to use it for gravy and other things, she was able to do that. You see, that's how Satan is using a lot of our sisters out here. The men too. But since I'm talking about this particular thing and this particular moment, because this is a situation that many men are dealing with today. It's how Satan is using what Yah has given to them as a blessing, as a curse to them. And so he's sifting the women like wheat. And they don't realize it. And they won't realize it unless they themselves step back and start to evaluate and assess, assess, why is this chaos going on around me? And yes, sisters, that is something you should take time as the men should evaluate. You should be asking yourself, why is this chaos around me? Why don't I have peace? And, you can easily go and say, well, because of this, because no, sisters, it's deeper than that. It's deeper than that. And let me give you something here to tell you that it's deeper than that. Because a lot of you sisters say, well, it's him. It's him. It's him. Nah. Not necessarily true, my sisters. I'm not saying he may not be your Achilles heel in terms of conduct and behavior and judgment and irresponsibility and no integrity. I'm not saying those things don't exist, but remember, that's wickedness, that has taken over that individual. And now there's no peace for you. But you still have to deal with yourselves. You still have to come back and ask yourself those other questions. Who am I fighting? Am I fighting him? Am I fighting myself? Is Elohim communicating something to me or attempting to communicate something to me and I'm not hearing? Or am I being an ally to wickedness? Am I being a source or a tool of Satan to tear down what Yah is trying to build up? But let's go. Let me take you right here to Ephesians 6 and 12. Now, I'm talking to my sisters, but I'm talking to my brothers too. All right, this is what Yah has put upon my heart to share. This one verse. Then I'm going to take you into a short story a little bit farther in the book, where one of our ancestors was dealing with a wicked king. Well, he didn't start off wicked, but he decided that to love the things of the world more than the things of Yah. And how this wicked king was trying to set up, a mighty man of Yah. And that man did not even see what was going on. And it almost cost him his life. And sometimes that can happen in situations and relationships as well. But let me come here, then we're going to go there, and then we're going to wrap it up, my brothers and my sisters. Ephesians chapter 6, verse 12. And this is Paul talking to the brothers and sisters in the city of Ephesus. He said, "For we wrestle not against flesh and blood." In other words, he said, our battle is not against flesh and blood. So again, my sisters, if you think that it's a man that you're fighting, he said, no, it's not the man. It's not the man. Same thing with my brothers. It's not the. It may be a Jezebel spirit you're fighting, but you think it's the female that you're fighting. And therefore, you're attacking the female, and the spirit is getting away scot-free. I'm talking about the demon spirit. He goes on to say, "For we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against," now here's who we actually wrestle against, principalities. And principalities are regimented levels of authorities or powers, or even governments. Satan has a governmental or hierarchy, just like your government has a hierarchy, or your place that you work has a hierarchy. These are principalities, different levels. And at each level, they have more power and they have more influence. And depending on your relevancy inside of that hierarchy, they're going to be more expected of you, more expected from you, or you're going to have more attention placed upon you, depending on where you sit, in the rankings of that authority. So if you are a person who is strong in Yah, then you're going to be dealing with some serious high-level demons. If you're some person who's new or a babe in Yah, you're going to be dealing with demons that are not as strong, but they're going to be very, very influential. They're going to constantly be whispering in your ear. Every time you think you're getting it right, they're going to come back and put something in front of you and discourage you to get you to stop. But anyway, he says, but against principalities, against the powers, against the rulers of the darkness of this world. Who rules the darkness of this world, my brothers and sisters? How many have even taken time to give reflection to that statement? The rulers of darkness. We know it's not Yah. We know it's not the heavenly host of Yah, because they're the light of the world. So who are the rulers of the darkness of this world? I suspect that some of you guys haven't even taken time to realize that there are rulers over the darkness of this world. And they're attacking you. They're attacking the whole planet. But their number one target is Israel and Judah. Because out of our seed comes the Messiah, the deliverer, the one who will open up our eyes, the one who's going to restore us back to our place, the one who's going to destroy their kingdom and so that Yah can set up our kingdom. But he goes on to say, we wrestle against the rulers of darkness. In other words, we're in a fight against the rulers of darkness of this world. And we're in a fight against the spiritual wickedness in those high places of the rulers of darkness in this world. That's where the fight is. But unfortunately, because we have eyes and cannot see because of our own blindness, and our blindness is because we're too, I guess for lack of a word, this is male, female, way too emotional. Everything is about, the way we feel. Instead of going back and says, what thus say Yah? As I told the brother on yesterday. I said, nothing is going to work for you until you get rooted in the word of Yah. The ecclesiastical proverb came to my mind, and I was sharing with the dear brother. And I was talking about it, and he was talking about doing different things to generate income. And I said, well, that's fine. I said, but now what you going to do when that's done? I mean, what you going to do? I didn't say after that's done. I said, what are you going to do in addition to that? I said, because it's a twofold thing. The book tells us if a man don't work, he doesn't eat. So my brothers, you're supposed to have a job. And if you can't get one, create one. You're supposed to have a job. Because, again, the scripture says if you're not working, you don't deserve to be eaten. So that means welfare is not supposed to take care of you. Government welfare, corporate welfare, no kind of welfare. You're supposed to be working. All right? But then I told him that part 2 said, so he said, and I used in the proverb came to my mind. It says, in the morning, plant your seed. That's in other words, that's doing your work. And in the evening, let not your hands be idle. That means you need to be doing something in the evening time when work is done. Not just laying around, playing video games or laying around watching television or laying around smoking weed or drinking beer or whatever you're doing. Idleness. That's not developing your soul, because if you're in a spiritual warfare, what are you doing to make sure that your spirit can fight back? If you're being idle, you're going to get your ass handed to you on a platter, men and women. If you're in a spiritual warfare, you're in a spiritual fight, and you're not building up your spirit in your time when you aren't working, not that you can't be building up while you are working, but in the time that you are not working, what do you think is going to happen the first time you get a spiritual attack? The first time one of these rulers of darkness enter into your house, I can tell you what's going to happen. Shit's going to hit the fan. And you're going to be walking around saying, what's going on? I don't have no peace. Why? Y'all come to me. Y'all help me. Y'all said, no, I already told you to get off your lazy behind and learn of me. I've warned you that many, many times. Your adversary, the devil, goes around like a lion looking to see who he can have for dinner. I've warned you of that, Judah. I've warned you that of Israel. But Israel is a stiff-necked, rebellious people. Sometimes we're too arrogant for our own good. We have a tendency to think that nobody knows better than us. Nobody knows better than you. And when I point this way, when I look here, you see me. But when I look, I guess I see what you see. So when I point this way, I'm pointing at you, but I'm also pointing at me. And Yah said, if we don't stop, he's going to break the backs of that rebellion. In other words, he's going to let the rulers of darkness, the spiritual wickedness in this world, tear us down to a point where we're going to be so low, we'll be like Job was when Job had lost everything. And his whole body had broken down, and he was sickly and near unto death. He was Satan had tore him down so bad that even his friends thought, oh my goodness, what the hell did you do to get this upon you. For Yah to do this to you, they never knowing that it was Satan's work or the rulers of darkness of this world. They had no idea. But in their arrogance, they were judging the man. And there's nothing wrong to make righteous judgment, but you don't judge anything before you do your own research. You judge nothing before the season. What does that mean? Get the facts first. And then in getting those facts, you make sure that there's nothing that you haven't repented of before you go share with others the things that Yah may be calling them to be repentant of. In other words, turning away from. Praise Yah. But that's what the enemy will do. He will destroy you, my sisters and my brothers. And principally because in the evenings, your hands are idle. Because that Proverbs goes on to say that, again, let me give it to you in the full proverb verse. In the morning, plant your seeds. So whatever Yah has called you to do to generate income or to raise your family, whatever your work is, whatever that work is, whether it's in the home, out of the home, in the morning, plant your seeds. And in the evening, let not your hands be idle. Let not your hands be idle. For thou dost not know which one Yah is going to bless. Let me say it to you again. For thou dost not know which one Yah is going to bless. Your hands who are busy in the evenings, your hands that are planting seeds in the morning. Again, for thou dost know which one Yah is going to bless. But here's the caveat in it, my brothers and sisters. I left out one thing, the caveat. For thou does not know which of these two Yah is going to bless, if not both of them. What do you think when Paul said, Timothy said, when Paul said to Timothy, no, John, said to the brethren, to the brothers of Israel. Most of all, I hope that you be prosperous and in good health, even as your soul or your spirit prospers. See if I can find that right quick for you, because I think that's a good point of reference, and I suspect that somebody might need it. Matter of fact, it's the third epistle of John, chapter 1. It says, to the elder, unto the well-beloved Gaius, whom I love in the truth. Beloved, I wish above all things that you may prosper and be in good health, even as your soul prospers. In the morning, plant your seed, and in the evening, let not your hands be idle. For thou dost not know which one Yah is going to bless, if not both. And if he's not blessing you on the work, he'll bless you in the workings or the work of Yah, which is a greater blessing. And I can assure you this much, as the brother just stated. When Yah takes you, if your soul, if you're developing your spiritual self, your soul, then I can assure you, what did Yeshua say? Let me tell you how the word works. Seek you first the kingdom of heaven, right? And all these things will be added unto you. Isn't that what Yeshua told the disciples? Hey, my brothers, hey, y'all. If you want to have a full blessing, seek the word, learn of me, get the knowledge, get into the scriptures. He said, if you do these things, if you're searching and trying to understand the kingdom of heaven, which is at hand, I might add. He said, seek you first the kingdom of heaven, which is the word of Yah, and all the things that you have need of will be given unto you. You see how the scriptures are very, very consistent, line upon line, precept on precept? See, that's how we know the word is true. Because the word is this 360 connective loop. It just keeps on leading and growing you and leading you and growing you, leading you, and it never truly contradicts itself if you're looking and studying with the Rahuk of Yah inside of you and around you. And for those of you who are not quite there yet, then you get teachers. And I'm not talking about in these hellholes, and you've heard me talk about these places, these so-called churches and synagogues and mosques. Yah does not dwell in the places made with the hands of men. Come out from among them, be you separated. Most of these imams and rabbis and priests and preachers are bought and paid for by the great whore church under the religious name of Catholicism. All of them come right out of Rome. The teachings are from the false prophet, every last one of those religions, and all the ones I did not mention. The only true religion you have is Yah in you. And so if you don't have the word inside of you, and you're not at a place that you can truly understand, then you get under teaching of men who are full of the Rahu. And you should know that. Yeshua said you can know a tree by the fruit that is bare. And he's not talking about perfect men. Quit the silliness. But men who are perfect in their heart, who love Yah. And you ought to be able to determine that. If you're in their presence, you're going to know. If you hear their voice, you're going to hearken to those voices. Because you're going to realize, hey, that is a man talking, but I hear Yah in them words. And that's where you stop and you take heed and you follow along and you learn and then you grow. And at that place, like a baby, at some point, that baby is not going to need breast milk anymore. That baby is not going to need you to hand spoon them anymore. At some point, that baby becomes self-sufficient in the things that it needs for its own protection and growth. So will you. But it has to be a consistent process. It can't be when you feel like it. You can't be, if you had a good day or not. It has to be continual. You wouldn't stop feeding your child just because you had a bad day. Would you expect your baby not to eat because you had a bad day? Of course not. It would harm that child. Same thing happens to you. When you stop because you're having a bad day or not a good moment, you fight through it. Because you understand that as great is he that is in you than he that is ruling the darkness of this planet. Now that's for somebody. Because let Yahuwah lead this conversation, my brothers and sisters. Let Yahuwah lead this teaching, Yahuwah. Because I can assure you, I had a general idea, but I didn't know we were going down here. But let him who have ears to hear what the Rahuk is saying to the churches. What is the church? The kingdom of Judah, the kingdoms of Israel, the people of Yah. That's the church. So let that church hear. Praise Yah. Now let me go over to the latter part of this lesson this evening. Praise Yah. I cannot believe how time flies by. Praise Yah. Brothers and sisters, I'm going to stop this lesson right here. I'm going to stop this lesson here. I'm going to pick up tomorrow, and we're going to read. If you want to know what we're going to be tomorrow, Yah willing, we're going to go to 1 Samuel chapter 18. It's going to be talking about King Saul, and King David's relationship and what went wrong in it. All right? And how the spirit of darkness, the rulers of darkness, got into Saul with the intentions of harming David. And David, all he ever wanted to do was to serve and be an honorable soldier for Saul. But envy, strife, and jealousy kicked in. And so we'll talk about that on tomorrow. Okay, my brothers and sisters? But with that said, again, all praises to Yah. You know what I'm saying? All praises to the Most High. May Yah bless you. May Yah protect you. May Yah put his Rahuk around you. May Yah shine his countenance in front of you so that you may see your path, so you may know how to walk. And even greater, may Yah bring to you and your household peace. Talk to you later, my family. DFG, Gideon's Flight. Bye now.